What if I told you that one of the world's most confident supermodels once hid in bathroom stalls, crying after being called names that would break most people? That the woman who now commands millions of followers and graces magazine covers worldwide once questioned whether she was worthy of love, success, or even basic respect? If you've ever felt like an outsider, if you've ever been told you're too much or not enough, if you've ever wondered how someone transforms pain into power, then this story will hit you right in the heart. Because today we're peeling back the glossy magazine covers and Instagram posts to reveal the untold story of Ashley Graham, not the polished supermodel version, but the real woman who fought through rejection, family resistance, and industry cruelty to become the curvy icon we know today. This isn't just another success story. This is about the hidden battles that shaped a revolution. So buckle up, because the truth about Ashley Graham's journey will surprise you, inspire you, and maybe even change how you see your own struggles. Picture this, a young girl in Nebraska sitting alone at lunch, while classmates whisper and point. That girl was Ashley Graham. But this isn't the version of her story that makes it into magazine profiles. Behind every confident smile she flashes today lies a childhood marked by cruel nicknames, academic struggles, and the suffocating loneliness of being different. Ashley battled ADHD and dyslexia in a school system that wasn't equipped to understand her needs. While other kids focused on lessons, she fought to make sense of words that seemed to dance on the page and thoughts that raced faster than she could contain them. But the learning disabilities weren't even the worst part. It was the comments about her body that cut the deepest. Thunder thighs, fatty, too big. These weren't just words thrown around by code playground bullies. They were labels that followed her home, echoing in her mind long after the school bell rang. She has described those moments as stinging experiences that created an internal conflict between who she was and who the world told her she should be. Most people would have crumbled under that pressure. Most people would have spent their lives trying to become smaller, quieter, more acceptable. But here's what those bullies didn't realize. They were forging something unbreakable inside Ashley Graham. Every cruel comment became fuel for empathy. Every moment of loneliness became preparation for understanding millions of women who would later see themselves in her story. But the real battle was just beginning. Fast forward to teenage Ashley, walking into her first modeling agency with stars in her eyes and hope in her heart. She thought her struggles were behind her. She was wrong. The modeling industry of the early 2000s wasn't just unwelcoming to curvy women, it was downright hostile. Picture Ashley, fresh-faced and eager, walking into casting after casting, only to hear those two devastating words. Too big. Not wrong look. Not what we're going for. Simply too big. Behind the scenes, every rejection was a fresh wound. Industry insiders didn't just pass on her, they made sure she knew why. Designers refused to create clothes in her size. Photographers sighed with frustration when she walked into studios. Casting directors looked right through her as if she were invisible. The fashion world had created a narrow box of acceptable beauty, and Ashley Graham simply didn't fit. But here's the part that rarely gets told. Those moments of professional rejection awakened something fierce inside her. While others saw roadblocks, she began to see a mission. She started documenting these experiences, not for pity, but for proof. Proof that the industry needed to change. Proof that women like her deserved representation. Proof that beauty comes in more than one size. The constant struggle to find clothes that celebrated rather than hid her curves became her first lesson in fashion activism. When designers wouldn't dress her, she learned to advocate for herself. When photographers didn't know how to light her body, she educated them. When casting directors dismissed her, she made herself unforgettable. While everyone saw her growing confidence, here's what they missed. The nights she went home questioning everything, wondering if she was fighting a battle she could never win. But Ashley had something many struggling models didn't. A family that refused to let her believe the world's lies about her worth. Her mother wasn't just supportive, she was revolutionary. In a world obsessed with making women smaller, Ashley's mom taught her to take up space. While magazine covers showcased impossibly thin models, her mother celebrated Ashley's natural curves and taught her to see them as assets, not flaws. Picture this intimate scene. Ashley walking through the front door after another brutal day of castings, mascara smudged, confidence shattered. But instead of finding pity, she found fierce love. Her mother would remind her that she wasn't trying to fit into someone else's world. She was creating her own. These quiet moments of affirmation, away from cameras and interviews, became the bedrock of Ashley's later activism. In the safety of her family's love, she learned that authenticity was more valuable than perfection. She discovered that her differences weren't flaws to fix, but strengths to celebrate. Her family didn't just support her dreams, they protected her identity. They reminded her that success without staying true to herself would be hollow victory. They taught her that changing the world starts with refusing to be changed by it. But even love couldn't shield her from her next challenge. In 2009, Ashley met Justin Irvin at church. On the surface, it was a beautiful love story. Below the surface, it was a battleground. Their relationship faced resistance that went far beyond typical dating challenges. Cultural differences sparked family tensions. Racial prejudices created external pressures. Some family members openly questioned their compatibility, not because of personality clashes, but because of societal expectations about who belonged with whom. Ashley found herself defending not just her career choices, but her heart choices. She watched as people she loved struggled to accept the man who made her happy. She experienced firsthand how prejudice doesn't just exist in boardrooms and casting calls. It infiltrates the most personal spaces of our lives. But here's what made this experience transformative rather than devastating. Ashley recognized these personal struggles as a microcosm of everything she was fighting against professionally. The same narrow-minded thinking that told her she was too big for fashion was telling her she was wrong for Justin. She chose love over approval. She chose happiness over conformity. And in doing so, she gained something invaluable, the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you can survive anything when you stay true to your values. This personal victory prepared her for the public battles ahead. When critics later attacked her career choices, her body, her message, she had already proven to herself that she could withstand judgment and emerge stronger. While the world watched Ashley Graham conquer runways and magazine covers, few knew about her quiet revolution happening behind the scenes. Long before she became a household name, Ashley was already using her growing influence to create real change in real lives. Her work with the Themba Foundation in South Africa reveals a side of Ashley that publicity teams rarely highlight. While other models vacationed in exotic locations, Ashley rolled up her sleeves to work with underprivileged children and families. She didn't bring cameras or publicists. She brought her heart and her resources. These weren't photo opportunities or brand partnerships. They were genuine moments of service that reflected Ashley's deep understanding of struggle and her commitment to lifting others out of theirs. Having experienced rejection and marginalization herself, she recognized these feelings in communities facing systemic oppression. This grassroots activism became her training ground for larger advocacy work. She learned that real change happens not just on magazine covers, but in communities, in conversations, in the quiet moments when someone chooses to show up for others. Ashley understood something that many celebrities miss: platform without purpose is just noise. Success never comes without sacrifice, and for Ashley, the price was often her mental health. Behind the confident poses and empowering speeches lived a woman battling anxiety, self-doubt, and the crushing weight of constant scrutiny. The turning point came during a particularly challenging photo shoot. Ashley has described feeling completely overwhelmed, questioning whether the fight was worth it, wondering if she was strong enough to continue breaking barriers while carrying the emotional baggage of every rejection, every criticism, every doubt. That night, she sat in her hotel room and made a choice that would define the rest of her career. Instead of quitting, she got honest about the cost of her mission. She invested in therapy, not as a sign of weakness, but as a tool for strength. She developed meditation practices that grounded her in purpose rather than panic. She started journaling, using writing as a way to process the complexity of living in the public eye while maintaining private authenticity. These self-care rituals became her secret weapons. While critics tried to tear her down, she was building herself up from the inside out. While the industry demanded perfection, she was learning to find power in vulnerability. Ashley began talking openly about mental health in an industry obsessed with surfaces. She shared her struggles with anxiety, her need for therapy, her commitment to emotional wellness. In doing so, she dismantled the myth that confidence means never feeling afraid. This vulnerability became her superpower. Instead of presenting herself as an untouchable icon, she positioned herself as a relatable human being who happened to be changing the world. But Ashley's ambitions stretch far beyond modeling. Hidden from most public profiles is her passion for creative writing and content creation. This isn't a side hobby, it's a fundamental part of who she is. Through writing, Ashley controls her narrative in ways that photo shoots and interviews never allow. She explores the complexity of her experiences, the nuance of her thoughts, the depth of her dreams. Writing gives her the freedom to be multifaceted in a world that prefers simple labels. This creative pursuit reveals something crucial about Ashley's character. She's not content being just a beautiful face or even just an activist. She's an artist, a storyteller, a woman with ideas that extend far beyond fashion and body positivity. Her interesting content production shows her understanding that lasting change requires multiple platforms, multiple voices, multiple approaches. She's not just breaking barriers, she's building bridges between industries, between conversations, between generations of women who need to see themselves represented. So here we are, watching a woman who was once told she was too big, now taking up space on the world's biggest stages. Ashley Graham didn't just overcome her struggles, she transformed them into strengths that have inspired millions. The bullied Nebraska girl became a voice for the voiceless. The rejected model became the face of inclusion. The woman who faced family resistance became a champion for love without boundaries. The anxious perfectionist became an advocate for mental health awareness. But here's the most important part of Ashley's story. She didn't wait until she was perfect to start making a difference. She used her pain as her platform, her struggles as her strength, her differences as her gifts. Every time you see Ashley Graham on a magazine cover, remember the girl who once hid in bathroom stalls. Every time you hear her speak with confidence, remember the young woman who questioned her worth. Every time you witness her celebrating her curves, remember the child who was shamed for her body. Ashley Graham's real superpower isn't her beauty, it's her refusal to let other people's limitations become her own. She proves that our greatest struggles often become our greatest strengths, and that the very things that make us different might just be the things the world needs most. If Ashley's story resonates with you, if you've ever felt like an outsider fighting for your place, if you believe that representation matters and authenticity wins, then you're part of this revolution. Share this story, because someone in your circle needs to hear that their differences are their superpowers too. Hit that like button if you believe that real beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. And subscribe, because we're just getting started on uncovering the untold stories of the icons who are changing our world, one authentic moment at a time. The girl who was once told she was too big is now showing all of us how to take up exactly the space we deserve.